Tantagel throne room to open up first. One of them, of course, guaranteed to be a key, and the other two could be just about anything that may or may not help them out in the early going. And speaking of which, here we go. We are underway.
All right, looks like we've got a battle of 80s video game characters. We've got Mario versus a Pac-Man ghost.
Mario versus a Pac-Man ghost, and oh, don't look now, 2 money chests available at the start, and rolling higher there is HighRofellos, but both of them have that hand axe money, so it's going to be interesting to see, do they decide, yes, Bobski is going to immediately go back up and save, as well as HighRo, and what do we see right outside of Charlotte?
Yeah, that's a whole lot of swamp, and I'm curious if that sort of influenced their decision on whether or not to go back up and save with the king, because with only 12 starting HP, that is not a lot of movement.
Fortunately, they do have that heal spell, and it looks like they don't need to go very far east in order to get out of there. And now seeing a cave, some very important choices to make. Do you want to fight the first things you see, or do you want to try exploring?
Okay, looks like that might be South Swamp.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, based on the movements there. And going north is HighRofellos. Unfortunately, gets blocked by a wizard, and Bobski with the quickest reset I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, even at 29 starting agility, which sounds pretty great, you've got Armored Knights, which are the second toughest enemy in the game to run away from. So at level 1, not so great. And look at this, HighRofellos goes west from the start and immediately finds a town.
This is actually huge. I would say it's not particularly common to immediately want to go west into all that swamp, but with that heal spell, you're going to be able to see if there's anything over there, and literally just moving that one tile, revealing some information. As long as this isn't Hawksness, this could be huge.
Yeah, any shop in there is likely to have some useful item with 1,200 gold for HighRofellos here. And, ooh, it's even better.
Oh my goodness.
Not only do we have a weapon shop, but we've got keys to start off with, which just opens up so many possibilities.
Absolutely. This is crazy, because now we have Bobski doing pretty much the odds-on play here, trying to fight this this magician, and wow, getting the critical hit there. It's hard for him to do any damage, even 1 point at all, but he's got the critical hit. He's trying to do 2, and oh no!
Wow, just besmirched by this magician casting heal when it's on its last legs. That was an unfortunate waste of time. But he's going to try again on this ghost, but we've seen on HighRofellos' side that they have hurt more, and we've got a reset from Bobski to keep that money.
Yeah, really unfortunate. So this seed, I missed what was in the inn chest as I was paying a little bit more attention to Bobski, but
I believe it was just the herb.
All right, and we do see that the important thing here, the words of wisdom are "Go west, young man," and Bobski does so he's going to go ahead and find Rimmildar and find himself keys as well. And it looks like, wow, there's a broadsword available here. Kind of a little bit out of reach for our runners, but it looks like the tracker's been keeping updated. We've got bamboo pole strats.
Hey, when you're starting off with 7 strength, that makes perfect sense. So Bobski's going to probably do about the same thing, buy some amount of keys, and then, well, now he's not going to have enough gold for the large shield, which is what HighRofellos purchased. That gives 10 defense. Although defense is not exactly the sticking point, it's really more about offense. I think Bobski is hoping for either some great item in this inn chest here, which unfortunately there is not, or a hand axe, or even just a copper sword in the weapon shop.
Yeah, and unfortunately going to be a little bit disappointed there. It looks like it was a pair of wings, which could potentially be useful. Betastrep noting that we had the delicious scones of sunlight, plus another key to replace the one he used. Get another pair of wings and some fairy water. But now we're going to get a look at what's in the basement.
And I believe this is Garen's grave?
Yeah. Yep, based on the up and down movement right there at the start, indeed going to be Garen's grave. HighRofellos going to take a minute to think about what he wants to do, maybe loading up a map to help him navigate in the dark as he does not have any sources of light. Can potentially get to these first three chests here at the top and see what he can see there.
Yeah, and this 29 starting agility helping out. There's some mid-tier enemies and wolf lords and some drolls, but first try runs on all of those.
Yep, and with this movement up to the north, I believe he's going to loop around, and he should be very close to those chests, gets back attacked by a metal scorpion, doesn't quite take him out, does manage to get away with that heal spell, going to help him out to make this hero walk here.
So Bobski's taking a slightly different tack. Bobski took the treasury, but chose not to check the basement or go very far if he did, and instead is choosing to try and grind to level 2 outside.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty heads-up play there, using the weapons as I want to get... Oh my goodness!
Ooh, but it's going to pay off for HighRofellos here. We've got Erdrick's sword in a chest, it looks like.
That is absolutely insane, and honestly too, it looks like he's grinding this chest potentially for herbs. No, it looks like we've got keys. So wow, that's going to be huge. Although here's level 2 coming in for Bobski. Let's see what we get here. It looks like we're going to get, wow, just one more power, 11 more response speed, 12 and 13. Well, the power is not great, but pretty much everything else was.
Well, the agility is a good sign for later on, especially when we're diving the final castle, Charlock. You want a lot of agility, so it's easier to run away from the strongest enemies in the game.
Absolutely, and 40 is nothing to sneeze at level 2. That puts you right at the 50-50 breakpoint for basically anything other than Murderer's Row, Golem being part of that particular set. So it will make that exploration easier. But for HighRofellos right now, I have to imagine there's only one thing on his mind. Let's use this sword and start getting some levels.
Yeah, we're going to find fairly quickly HighRofellos catching up in experience and levels here.
And I think HighRofellos, honestly, if we kind of take a look at the stats here, I think he's going to be extremely happy to not see Hurt More and not see Strength at level 2, because keep in mind, if we had Hurt More at level 2, that would somewhat make it a wash as to this advantage that the sword gives. And speaking of which, here comes level 3. Let's see what it brings.
All right, there's 9 power, so there's a little bit of help. And we've got Return, which is not super exciting yet, but it's good to have later on.
Absolutely going to help out that movement there. That 9 power, basically that entire level was the opposite of the one before it. So giving a little bit of extra power there. And this high agility paying off, especially the purchase of the chainmail and the large shield, 26 max HP level 3. Usually you're not fighting wolf lords, but gonna go ahead and try to take this one out. Oh my goodness.
I believe that was 2 min roll damages, 8 damage from the Wolf Lord each time. Puts him at no resources, 1 HP, but gets the job done.
That was another gigantic level for agility, and wow, I was kind of wondering if at some point you might find some gold in the very bottom of the grave to potentially do a gold grind, but they might not need one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not there is gold in the locked room chests, because otherwise they're just not going to be able to do a gold grind at all should they find the silver shield. But Bobski picks up Erdrick's sword and level 3, so I think we're just going to start picking up all kinds of levels. But if the agility continues apace, look at this, 67 agility at level 5 for HighRofellos. This is bonkers agility. So we might see a very quick seed as they're able to run from all the dangerous stuff early on.
Not only run from, but defense break. Yeah, Z-Man in chat noting that you kind of do, it's kind of a play here, a decision. If that gold grind is available, do you want to go all the way to the bottom of the grave to even check for the possibility of a gold grind. It looks like HighRofellos might be making that play right now. And if you do see that gold, that's right. This maybe could... Wait, I don't think we can back into Garenham. I do believe this is the grave, so we could see if the swamp cave backs into Garenham, but I'm not sure how much that would help us out.
Well, it's another potential source for Erdrick's armor, which would certainly help. You'd also be able to see another weapon shop that could have Silver Shield and inform you a little bit more on whether or not it's worth it to dive grave to figure out if there's gold there. I think at the moment, because there's only the 2 chests left in Garen's grave, unless you're just going to do it on the first try here, it's probably better to leave them for last. It's not a tough dungeon to get to since it's just in Tantacle's basement, so you can kind of return to it at any point. No pun intended, since you do have the return spell. We've got HighRofellos getting heal more here as well, and stop spell. So, oh my goodness.
And this 17 more agility.
This agility. What is going on? This is crazy. Somebody asked for a jet seed. HighRofellos is literally going to be jetting everywhere with 84 agility at level 6.
Yeah, we just hit green on one of our stats at level 6. I mean, normally you want around 90 or so before trying to run from things in Sharlock, but oh my goodness. I think someone else said earlier that we secretly swapped out their builds for HP agility. This might be the case.
Yeah, I mean, this is just completely nuts. With any number of reasonable agility level ups at this point, we have not seen a single reasonable agility level up, mind you. They've all been completely insane. But just with reasonable agility level ups on the way, you may not even need a Silver Shield. You're going to have enough defense that you don't even have to worry about it.
Beta noting they picked the mysterious agility build. You're getting like 30% bonus. And looking at
look at this.
Every other stat. Oh,
chat calls it. Bobski casts outside. Very smart play in South Swamp entrance, which will take you directly to the North Swamp exit, which does indeed backdoor the town of Garenham.
All right, well, not too much there. We did pick up that death necklace, but not anywhere close to that being a potential play. But huge discovery here, as now we'll be able to check at least one shop for the potential for that Silver Shield. And so, again, in a lot of races where you've got a lot of decisions to make early on, like these early key races, you've got so many decisions to make. And we're going to have opposing knowledge here. HighRofellos deciding, hey, I really like the enemies that I saw in the grave. Let me go back there, dive, see if there's gold, see if there's another important item, and get experience at the same time. I actually really like this because with this Druid Lord kill, he's like basically 2 mid-tier monsters away from level 7.
Yeah, but on the other hand, Bobski's got quite a bit more knowledge here now. HighRofellos will get here eventually in North Swamp, but Bobski's trying to pick up some more information, see if this is maybe a second continent. It looks like the north edge of where he is might have been the north edge of the map. So that gives you a little more information as well, and you kind of explore from there.
I think I just saw on HighRofellos' screen Wraith Knights with the Diet Wombo, the sleep and regular dragon breath, so that's not particularly fun, but didn't quite stop him in his tracks just yet.
Yeah, luckily it was Diet Dragon Breath, so he was able to survive it despite only 34 max HP. Well, we'll see what level 7 brings.
Wow, okay, so we got 1, 1, 8, and 3. Not huge there by any means. That 8 HP will help out, but one thing I want to point out, he was defense breaking that Druid Lord.
Wow, and
at
look
level
at that.
6.
Level 7 just casually runs away from a red dragon, and that's like kind of the expected here with 85 agility. Keep in mind 90 agility, which you would hope to have in the very end game, is what gives you a coin flip chance against a red dragon. So at level 7, we've got 85 agility, almost a 50-50 shot of running from a red dragon, and he does it on the first try, no problem.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, getting blocked again by this Demon Knight. Didn't want to try to go toe-to-toe with that 64 attack power. Did put him to sleep. Fortunately, only for one turn. And I'm not sure if he got that fourth. No, he's headed to the fourth chest right now, I believe.
Wow, so there is no gold grind possible. Finds a torch in the very last chest. I believe he does have the outside spell, so he might be looking to Death Warp here anyway.
Yeah, this is an interesting decision. Definitely one way out, because you will get back that MP that you gained on the levels that you gained on the way down. So wanting to quickly get those resources back, taking the Death Warp, and now going to do what bobski's already done, which is just get out on the map and start trying to find things as quickly as you can.
Yeah, bobski's a little bit behind on experience, but has a bit more knowledge, a lot more exploration. So it'll be interesting to see how these paths converge or diverge.
Yeah, while Hyro is making his dive, I do like the play, trying to get those mid-tier monsters. Bobski's found no shortage of them himself. So as HighRofellos making the exact same play, hitting the outside spell, I imagine if Bobski can continue to find some of those mid-tier monsters that he's already defense breaking, he'll catch up in experience, no problem.
Yeah, and he does continue to do that. He's actually fairly close to HighRofellos in experience. After he beats this Wraith here, he's also going to get level 7, so they'll be matched in that regard. HighRofellos is now treading the path that Bobski already did, checking out Garanham, also choosing not to use a key and opting to just leave the town through the back fields and come back in that way. But HighRofellos has a little extra gold, so we may see what the weapon shop here has. Bobski opted not to check it.
Yeah, knowing that he can't afford anything, and knowing that there's pretty much only a remote possibility of a gold grind being available, just said, nope, just get me back out on the map and let me find other things, maybe wanting to prioritize finding coal for that potential, Airdrick's armor spot to boost his defense.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking like Bobski has kind of found the top portion of the map, decides that I don't know if they've been... Okay, so Lorgon says that's all of the first continent. I wasn't sure if they'd already gone all the way west and all the way south, but Lorgon keeping track. And so now everything is pretty much going to be on the other side here. I'm not sure if HighRofellos knows that or not, but regardless, they'll be pretty much doing the same thing here, just taking quick sweeps of this opposite side.
And wow, we've got the luxury shop in Garanham. Every best item in the shop, flame sword, magic armor, and silver shield, all the best buyable items right here, but unfortunately no gold grind with which to use them. So Saks Fifth Avenue, I'm sorry, you're probably not getting any business today.
Very unfortunate. Not even the poor man's coal, the death necklace and coal grinds, maybe to try to get that magic armor. No, nothing unfortunately available. Looks like Bobski is going to go ahead and check that grave now. Going to try to get to the bottom, make the same play that HighRofellos did. A very heads-up play here. Unfortunately, not going to find any gold at the bottom. We do already know that, but should be able to get himself some decent experience points along the way.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is sort of mostly for information and hoping for a gold grind. We know that Bobski's not going to get the information that he hopes for, but there are a lot of enemies in Garen's Grave on all the floors that are pretty good for mid-range stuff, as Bobski takes a brief lead in experience, so this is pretty tight so far.
Well, don't look now. The lead has been taken right back by HighRofellos using the heal spell to try to outpace a knight. Those things can hit surprisingly hard, but managing to get a few rolls in his favor there does take it out. So making use of what is honestly one of the strangest stat lines at level 7 I think I've ever seen. 64 power, but 56 defense thanks to this 85 agility, allowing him to secure that kill.
Yeah, we've only got 24 power at level 7, which is unfortunately pretty low. We could still end up seeing like a level 18 completion required if the strength is so low, and who knows what our agility is going to be by then.
Yeah, I feel like it's very potential we're going to be astronomical, maybe even defense breaking stone men with once we pick up that Airdrix armor, cracking that 100 defense level, very possible in the near future. Might even be looking at defense breaking blue dragons or something if that's the grind that we see out of this particular seed.
Alright, so far HighRofellos mostly just grinding around Garenham as it's a useful inn to get to. And there's some knights that are giving some pretty solid experience, but the XP lead kind of just keeps bouncing back and forth as Bobski's descending Garen's grave here, trying to ascertain what the last chest on the 4th basement level has. We know, I believe it's a torch, which is not super useful, but still, you gotta check everything at some point. So... yeah, this is actually pretty close so far.
Absolutely, gotta do that due diligence, and unfortunately, HighRofellos getting an unlucky, I believe that was either a back attack or a run fail from a green dragon, and getting sent back to the start, which does give Bobski a chance to potentially be the first to reach level 8 and see what that gives. Taking the baby breath here from the Poltergeist.
Oh no, one step away from the bottom chest. Oh, and he makes it out with 1 hit point.
All right, now HighRofellos does manage to kill a Wraith, sees the next level, 1171, and the stats have kind of dried up a little bit.
Yeah, still only 1 more attack power. This could go long, but that does provide another interesting angle, depending on what the grind of choice ends up being, whether that ends up at Hawksness or in the Swamp Cave itself. If the players get enough gold here, it's possible they may be buying that Silver Shield after all.
Yeah, we did see that in last night's race. Unfortunately, I'm forgetting who exactly was in that race off the top of my head, but we did actually see one player settle in to their grind about, I want to say 48 minutes, and then not be done for about 30. And it was in Garenham basement. Yeah, Tilo chat reminded me it was Tilo who was able to pick up that gold chest, do this kind of loop, and every time he would go back to the inn, he'd pick up a little bit more money, pick up plenty from the armored knights, and by the time he was done, he was able to pick himself up a silver shield the old-fashioned way, and indeed, we could see that same thing here potentially.
Wow, look at this. Both players high-fiving in the endless swamp west of Rimmeldar here. Both getting their information at exactly the same time. There is nothing west of Rimmeldar of use. Great sync up there.
Yeah, pretty much just making that loop almost exactly the same time. And this is really interesting. Some people noting that maybe this, trying to take on these knights might be a little bit slow. And Bobski's kind of, I don't know if he's seen a knight yet and declined to fight it, but it's really interesting here because the experience is just neck and neck.
Yeah, really going back and forth here. I think the person that explores the best or just has the best luck in terms of finding the towns or finding Mountain Cave first can obtain a nice lead. We'll see. There's a whole lot of land to cover outside the North Swamp Cave entrance, so it may just depend on which direction the players go to start off their exploration from there, because it appears we've kind of covered everything on the initial Tanagal continent.
Yeah, and we know that there's nothing to the north. Bobski did confirm that for us. I think HighRofellos was kind of trying to maybe go southwest. Here we see Bobski going southeast, and in the plains tiles running into more fun police, but again, that 86 agility allows him to just cruise right on by. And it looks like this is the direction that everybody kind of needs to go to find the next important location.
All right, well, it looks like HighRofellos is going to start off going southwest here. So we'll see. It'll be interesting if my prediction comes true. Whoever finds the interesting locations first may be able to jump out to a nice item lead, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, we can cross one interesting location off the list, depending on how much you like it. We have found Breckenary, but don't look now. There's 2 more locations here for Bobski.
Alright, Stones of Sunlight Cave has some gold, if only we had seen that in Tanticle or Garen's grave. But we've also got Cantlin, and we do have keys, so we may be able to find some coordinates.
Absolutely. This is going to be pretty important here. Bobski still not having any armor. Just wanted to check that shop really quick. I think he's got over 1,000. Could potentially look for either that large shield or that half plate armor. Didn't quite see it in that shop there. So just going to go ahead and go straight for these coordinates. Now we do have that Chris Belt counted there on the tracker. We've seen 2 so far. So very likely that something's out on the map.
Alright, well, let's find out. We do indeed have a search location. 37 north, 57 east. And if I'm not mistaken, that sounds like it might be on the other continent. There was some small, short paths with some forests and some bridges up northeast of Tanagal, so that might be on the first continent.
Yeah, I feel like Bobski went up that way early on, but not too terribly sure. He will definitely have an idea whether or not he wants to try to head that way. And I'm also not sure if HighRofellos might still be on that first continent, taking a look up that way as well. But could potentially see a princess rescue here. I feel like with the way the map is kind of shaken out from what we've seen, you might not even be able to get a reference point for trying to find that. So we'll just have to see. Bobski right now content to just go and do some more exploration.
Yeah, HighRofellos is probably going to let us know on whether or not there's a lot more land to the east here or not. Bobski's going to find Tablet Cave and find one chest therein, but we're still missing quite a few items here. We don't have Silver Harp or Erdrick's Token. We're missing Erdrick's Armor, Fairy Flute. There's a lot of potential items that could still be in play here.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of these locations is going to get crossed off as we do get down to the bottom of Erdrick's Cave, and we do find that well-fermented herb just sitting there lonely by itself. And so now Bobski can check that location off his list.
Would that make it Erdrick's herb? Alright, yeah, Bobski's just finding all the locations here. Look at this. We found Hawksnest. We've got 2 caves next to each other. One of which has to be Mountain Cave. That's the only dark cave left, and he realizes that right away. He thinks about using a light source and just says, nope, I know this has to be Mountain Cave.
Yeah, it looks like you kind of called it. You got to go in one direction. It's southeast is the way to go. The big sea yet to be found, but almost everything else here for Bobski.
Yeah, and there's even one more cave just west of here, which I believe either has to be the Staff of Rain Cave or the Rainbow Drop Cave. So hopefully the other cave of the 2 there is not too far out of the way. Otherwise, it looks like just about everything is on a single line path.
Yeah, you just kind of get led by these this kind of trail of crumbs. And now looking at where HighRofellos is looking, he's gonna go ahead, use one of these herbs, see if he can get to the top of this little landmass here again. I'm not sure if he's still on the first continent or not. We'll have to see where this leads. I think Bobski's been this way before, though.
Yeah, we've seen this before. I believe this is first continent. I don't know if it's far enough east to be able to contain the coordinate location. Yeah, we can see some landmass across the river and the lake here, so we might be looking at over there. Bobski picks up Token inside Mountain Cave.
And Hyro picks up level 9, which chat noted 13,589. So finally, some strength rolling in. That's going to help out a lot. Again, continuing to pick at these mid-level monsters. This Magi Wyvern should be no problem. Pretty darn close to defense breaking them at this point.
Yeah, that level 9 strength gain almost as much as the previous 7 levels combined. So that's at least some hope for a nice pace for later on, hoping we're not stuck here until level 20. But hey, if we do get to level 20, maybe we'll see something ludicrous like 150 agility. Wouldn't that be crazy?
How much do you need to defense break DL2?
You know, I've never had to do that math, but I'm sure it makes the Dragon Lord fight that much easier.
Yeah, with this large shield here, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know off the top of my head the difference between this chainmail and Erdrick's armor, but I don't think they're going to have, maybe not defense breaking, DL2, but definitely defense breaking DL1 is on the table, which is an important breakpoint to achieve because then you pretty much got a 2 out of 3 chance to get a free turn to allow you to cruise through that fight.
All right, so Bobski checks that other cave right next to Mountain Cave, and that is indeed Staff of Rain Cave. So all I believe we're missing of significance are the town of Cole and the Rainbow Drop Cave.
I do believe that HighRofellos just saw that, and I think Bobski had already seen that as well. Maybe on the... I can't quite keep track if it's on the first continent just north of Tantagel or maybe on that second continent, but I do believe they've both seen that. Now, HighRofellos did take that southwest route, is going to find Breckenary and pretty much everything else Bobski has found. Bobski checked the spike tile, but I think he checked the spike tile, and I'm not sure what was there.
It was a red dragon, which luckily he was able to run away from, but we are certainly not in a position to be able to kill those at level 8.
No, not quite yet, but if Bobski can get his hands on some armor, and if these two plucky young warriors can get their hands on some more HP, could be, that red dragon could be getting killed in the very near future.
Yeah, as we saw HighRofellos pick up a massive upgrade to leather armor from clothes. I believe that gives him an entire 2 defense points. Big upgrade there.
Yeah, absolutely going to help out with that 1 or 2 points of damage. And now HighRofellos finding Cantlin again, following right in the footsteps of Bobski, and gonna try to get these coordinates and decide, they both know where the princess is. And so the question is, do they want to take the time to rescue the princess or not? And now that Bobski is back here at the start, he's going to come back through this swamp cave, and we're going to see, does he want to stop and see what's there on the spike tile and maybe consider a rescue?
Yeah, both these players know what the coordinates are now, and they both might be thinking, yeah, I know there was that stretch of land northeast of Tanagal, but was that enough? Or do I need to rescue the princess to make it not awkward to count out?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to, definitely some questions to ask here as not casting outside. Bobski did go open it up in the menu, but it looks like right now he should be potentially making his way. Yeah, he's using the stairs as a reference point, going to make his way over to the spike tile, see whether or not he can reasonably defeat it.
Alright, this is a slightly easier form of dragon here, but still probably too much. We'll see. 57 max HP isn't too bad, and there's just baby dragon breath. An excellent move for 62 will help quite a bit, though.
Absolutely. I didn't see that first roll, but he could get it on the next hit. Unfortunately, the blue dragon rolling kind of high there, but no, 15 was enough to take it out. And, I don't remember if Hoxus was particularly close to a town or not with that red dragon there. And this blue dragon here, I feel like that blue dragon's going to become the grind. I mean, they're going to be defense breaking that momentarily.
Yeah, sooner than you would think. Already at 91 agility. Bobski picks up Princess Gwaelin and will probably be using outside and return in order to get back to Tanagal right away.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have both those spells this early so that you can make that play not only quickly, but without having to fight the Spike Tile monster a second time. So he's going to go ahead and turn that in, and I imagine beeline for the opposite side of the swamp cave, see if he can figure out where that spot is. As again, no armor yet for Bobski, but if he's the first to Erdrick's armor, that could be a huge turning point.
Yeah, Erdrick's armor is just going to be so massive here. With all our agility, our defense is going to be sky high.
HighRofellos meanwhile, still making his way along that path that Bobski already tread, picking up the herb at the bottom of the tablet cave. So again, getting all that information, but Bobski briefly, that blue dragon kill, 180 experience. He's briefly now taken back the experience lead, but still neck and neck.
Yeah, this is super close. HighRofellos unfortunately meets the Fun Police, also known as a Red Dragon, the toughest non-boss enemy in the game, and gets sent back to start.
I didn't notice until now on the tracker that Bobski has the token. I don't remember exactly where that was or how long he's had it. One bit of advantage to him. Mountain Cave, that's right. So he's already seen that.
That was one of the chests in Mountain Cave that Bobski found on the long trek through all the significant locations outside North Swamp Cave. So HighRofellos should be getting there shortly. He's not here right now.
Yeah, it
seeing
looks like
a lot of Drakis, which is the same enemy placement as Swamp Cave. So Metal Scorpions, Drakis, and Armored Knights are here as well. So as long as HighRofellos stays lucky and is able to run away from things at a good pace, he'll be able to get through Mountain Cave.
So it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, Bobski is kind of on the right path for the north coordinate, but might be quite a bit west of where he needs to be. Sometimes it's hard to flip those directions around in my head, but I think he's got quite the trek to try to walk to this search spot. But again, with that Gwaelin positioning system, hopefully going to be able to get there without too many problems.
Yeah, with the GPS, that'll lead you the way, and then also this 91 agility, being able to have a better than 50-50 chance to run away from any enemy in the game now. That should help out quite a bit. We got heal and heal more. Despite no armor, I think we're still in pretty good shape. Well, commentator's curse.
Oh boy.
Bobski electing not to heal as he steps out of the swamp, and is going to have to start looking all over again.
Yeah, unfortunately, with no armor and 57 max HP, the punch more ability is still pretty effective, but I have to feel that if I was right and Bobski needs to go kind of like south and pretty far west, he's not going to bother with that spot that he was at. Pretty much saw the end of that kind of extended peninsula and made opt to go straight south from here.
All right, yeah, so our coordinates again, 37 north, 57 east. So he's quite a ways away from it at the moment. And now we've got HighRofellos rescuing the princess.
Yeah, and I do believe that both of them kind of made this decision just based on, oh no, HighRofellos didn't have enough MP to get outside.
Yeah, this is going to make this blue dragon fight real awkward, potentially. Alright, he seems to have made it. One nice little trick there, if you run away from that blue dragon spike tile, you end up back on the other side of it after you've rescued the princess. It always makes you run away to the north end of that tile.
Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I figured it would kick you back to the tile that you started on, but able to run from that blue dragon, no problem. Good heads up play there. Should be able to turn this princess in, and then again, I mean, HighRofellos had the lead in experience, actually did just take back the lead in experience, and the lead in information for Bobski continued to be in play. As also, HighRofellos, like, did he die right before we got the token?
That's a good question. I don't believe they made it all the way through Mountain Cave.
That is a little bit unfortunate. We'll need to go back there after making this search, although based on the way Bobski is walking, it looks like this walk and this Gwaelin positioning system might take him just right back in that direction. So after searching that spike tile, we'll probably just want to go back and finish that off and pick up this token and pretty much even things up.
Yep, so I expect HighRofellos to continue on that path that Bobski's already on and find all the significant locations. I believe we're still missing Charlock. I haven't seen that yet. And then Cole as well. also could contain a key item.
Yeah, no big C just yet. 2 dodges out of this Spectre, trying to pick up just a little bit more experience, but
and Bobski
slowly...
definitely looks like he's on the right path to find the buried treasure here. Just a bit more southwest should lead to the item he desires. And hopefully it is an item he desires and not just the fairy flute.
Yeah, it would be a little bit unfortunate if that were the case, although one of the things that sometimes can happen when you do try to search for those coordinates in extended spots, sometimes it leads you to in a direction you might not have otherwise gone. But again, we were commenting on this earlier, Bobski, the first to head southeast, the first to try to check this direction, and pretty much just a trail of breadcrumbs taking him exactly to where he wanted to go. And really this search spot is just continuing to do a bit of the same, and I think he's got this zeroed in now.
Yeah, he overshot it a little bit, but he's got the location roughly. Might have to consult the GPS one last time. Oh no, it is the fairy flutes.
Well, that is a bit unfortunate, but good that neither runner decided to count this one out. So, not too much time lost there. And, HighRofellos is doing the exact same thing. So, not going to be too penalized for that particular play.
Yeah,
and,
I definitely
again,
anticipate both players will be doing the same thing. HighRofellos is not too far away from it. Also sees Mountain Cave again over here. May choose to dip in there first to complete the exploration. And we also find level 10 on both players.
Level 10 on both players looks like 123, and I think I saw a 3 there. Yes, confirmed on Bobski's side. And we do see the big C for Bobski, so that'll also be found by HighRofellos momentarily, in a town right outside.
Yeah, I believe the only town remaining is Cole. So we may find Silver Harp or Erdrick's Armor here. Oh, and HighRofellos, once again, the Red Dragon, offers no mercy. So he's going to get penalized a bit. He's going to have to walk all the way back. And there is the armor for Bobski and Cole. So Silver Harp, still at large. Now, what chests do we have left for the Silver Harp? I guess the only thing left is Hawksness, right?
Yeah, by process of elimination, it does seem, I do believe we've seen pretty much everything else. So, Bobski may opt to redive the grave at some point for this. No, actually, no. He doesn't really have a reason to. I think right now the optimal play is to just head right back to Hawksness as soon as possible. And I do believe that is where the harp has to be, and he'll be basically in grind and go mode pretty soon here.
Well, the good news is he just got a boatload of HP 23 from that last level, and now with Erdrick's Armor, he's already in green defense. Green denoting the stat you want to have by the time you reach the final boss. So we're already at level 10 with green agility and defense. So the red dragons there, so long as they aren't too nasty, might actually not pose that much of a threat.
Yeah, in this case, the agility plus the Erdrick's Armor giving some of that bite more protection. And now look here, Bobski putting that flute to good use. The golem has the hurt spell, and using a combination of heal here and the flute, and oh no, it has heal too. What a troll.
Yeah, but this seems like it's very slow. It's going to take about a minute plus to kill this golem, but 255, the maximum experience from any enemy in this game, is a large dent in the way towards level 11 here.
Absolutely, a nice play here, making use of that search spot item, and heading back in a loop here. Wow, this just went all the way around in a circle, and I do believe that's Hawksness right above.
Yes, indeed. So we might see Bobski enter Hawksness right now. Indeed, we do. So Bobski, I believe, has opened every chest at this point and knows, if he's done the paperwork, that Silver Harp is being guarded by this red dragon here. It starts off with an excellent move! That is perfect. Only 19 damage from a red dragon attack, as I mentioned. Look at that. Immediately kills the red dragon, picks up Silver Harp, and has full item progression. Merely needs to do the work in turning it into the rainbow drop.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. Here gets the crit, gets the low roll, and manages to finish it off. And you know, it's very convenient here. He knows that the Harp Cave is right here, right next to Hawksness. He knows he's likely going to just hit this return spell and go and get his rainbow drop. But don't look now. HighRofellos is going to go check this out, going to go pick up this harp, and all he would need to do now is just dig that token out of Mountain Cave, and we're basically synced up.
Yeah, Bobski, after picking up the Staff of Rain, takes a nice long look at his stats page. Okay, yeah, that looks good. 92 agility, 80 HP. All right, we'll get there eventually. Oh, by the way, you only have 81 attack power. Yeah, you're going to be grinding for a little while.
Yeah, deciding to, you know, he's basically about, I think, 15 points away from the next level, so gonna go ahead and try his luck again here. That was kind of cute. No hurt more yet, kind of messing with that muscle memory there a little bit, but fortunately the repel spell won't get you killed in this particular fight, and this is gonna be a long one, but if he can win here, can get himself level 11.
Yeah, although I don't know if this is necessarily a better grind spot at this very moment than the Blue Dragons in Swamp Cave. He did happen to be right here at Hawksness. Maybe the thought process is, I'll just use up whatever MP I have here on Red Dragons since they're right here, and then afterwards they'll let me Death Warp as such, and then I'll gain my MP back, and we'll head on over to Swamp for the experience points there.
Yeah, I want to say that was the heads-up play there, just very convenient, and unfortunately, 81 attack power, not quite enough to pull it off. So gonna need to just pick up some kind of piece of small fry here to get that level and see if he can get a little bit more attack power. You know, he's gonna go ahead and pick up this rainbow drop here, and then it's just blue dragons for days.
Yeah, just getting his homework done before he goes out to play with Blue Dragons first. So he's got his rainbow drop, so it's grind and go mode for Bobski. So another thing I had mentioned earlier, with the Blue Dragon grind here, I don't know if we're going to end up with enough gold to pick up a silver shield at some point. The one nice thing is, if we ever do happen upon that much gold, the silver shield is practically on the way here. They're sold in the Garanham weapon shop, which is a simple outside spell away. He's going to visit it quite a bit, I imagine, just healing up from grind spots.
Yeah, chat kind of split on whether or not it's worth it to pick up, but you know, I guess at this point you wouldn't necessarily want to do a grind as level 11 coming in here for Bobski.
All right, let's see what we've got. We've got 4, 10, 1, 12. So 10 more agility. We're at triple-digit agility at level 11.
This is getting obscene. Their defense breaking pretty much everything up through, I think, Axe Knights and the rest of the Sharlock set. I think they're defense breaking Blue Dragons as well. So this is getting nutty. It was nutty. It's getting more nutty.
Yeah, with a silver shield, we'd be defense breaking Blue Dragons. Because we don't have that, we're still taking hits up to 25 damage and beyond. But Bobski, with these resources and this quick grind, has decided Blue Dragons are the way to go.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do in terms of getting his resources back. I mean, here you could potentially, once you run out of resources, just take the Death Warp and walk back. He also would have the option here of just casting outside and doing a quick walk to that inn, as HighRofellos now finding the Big C, now finding Cole, going to pick himself up that armor, and should be on that grind tile momentarily, I imagine.
Yeah, HighRofellos not very far behind here, picks up his Erdrick's armor. So what do we have? We had from starting with nothing to buying clothes, to leather armor, to chainmail, to full plate, and now finally the 5th armor upgrade to Erdrick's armor for HighRofellos. I don't think I've seen the entire full progression before, but that's about as close as you can get.
And Bobski, meanwhile, has the money to potentially pick up half plate pretty early on in the seed, but deciding, no, I'm just going to wait for the best armor in the game. I've seen 2 cursed belts, maybe what he was thinking. It's got to be out there on the map somewhere, and I'll pick that up eventually, and that kind of worked out for him. So, yeah, and here we go. It's, HighRofellos here. Not sure exactly where he is, maybe heading back through that swamp cave, but yeah, gonna definitely be able to put these things together pretty soon. As soon as it looks like he's still waiting for that harp, has to go back to Hawksness and pick that up. But again, we're gonna be seeing dueling grinds here in not too far in the near future.
Bobski's got a nice lead at the moment, and knows what his job is from here on out. He's seen Charlock, as has HighRofellos at this point, but knows where he wants to grind and how he wants to do it, and is just hoping for stats to come as quickly as possible.
And quickly they might. We are still looking for that big strength bump, and Bobski making kind of a heads-up play. Wasn't quite sure what was in the back of Garanham there. I imagine he was hoping for a key to make this a little bit easier, but now noting that there isn't any keys there, may opt to just walk through that door. It's a little bit slower, but then you don't risk running out of keys that way.
Yeah, and the nice part is, too, after he casts outside, that door's still going to be unlocked. So long as he just walks back through that room area to the inn, he doesn't have to keep using keys every time.
So HighRofellos still has a few checkboxes to tick off, but has decided that he wants to settle in. Not sure maybe what he's looking for, maybe just a little bit more attack power, potentially to take on that red dragon with. We know he won't get it at level 11, so maybe we'll look for it at level 12, and Bobski will give us kind of a sneak peek at what that's going to be. And this is an interesting scenario. This is almost exactly what we saw last night. We had one person who is in grind and go mode, and we had another person who had just a little bit left to do, and they're doing these dueling grinds. Unfortunately, Bobski pretty much in a huge lead here. 1,000 experience already. Hyros is going to have to leave right after this particular dragon, and again, still has a lot of homework to do.
Yeah, I mean, certainly nothing is decided yet. As we know, Charlock has a tendency to decide a lot of races as well. But here's level 12, 16 power, 1 agility, 2 HP, 1 MP. Still no hurt more, just the hurt spell learned there, I believe. But an interesting question in chat, what happens if you do learn hurt more here soon? Is there a change in grind or some other potential use for that? Blue dragons resist hurt 7 out of 16 tries, so it's not very reliable, but it's certainly there potentially. Whereas red dragons have the full hurt resist 15 out of 16, so not very useful there to grind in Hawksness with hurt more.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if maybe we saw some hurt more swing strats, or swing hurt more strats might be a little less efficient on the MP, but might allow you to chew through them a little bit quicker, so could make that play potentially. And HighRofellos is going to refill on the MP and just get right back to it, probably hoping again for that level 11 bump, but unfortunately he's going to have to get to level 12 before he gets that. But if he decides to stay here until level 12, that will make him, it'll give him a pretty good chance to take out that red dragon that's guarding the silver shield or the silver harp, which he must know is the last location he needs at this point.
Yeah, I believe he's also opened up all the other chests and seen all the other locations at this point. So he knows that's the area he needs to get to is Hawksness for the silver harp. So we'll see. We've been getting some pretty good stats, kind of exactly what we're looking for in levels 11 and 12 here. We got a nice strength boost out of level 12, which is exactly what we're looking for. We've got plenty of defense, not quite defense breaking yet, but we're not worried about that. We got a nice MP gain at level 11. That's also a sticking factor at this point. Only 61 max MP for Bobski right now. So even if we were to get hurt more, we wouldn't get a lot of uses out of it between heal more and hurt more casts before we'd have to return to an inn.
Yeah, interesting series of decisions to make for both runners. Looks like Bobski here are gonna opt to take a Death Warp, an interesting play. Gonna go ahead and decides it's faster to take the Death Warp and no Silver Shield. I was actually doing the math really quick. With the gold that Bobski had going into that blue dragon, it would take 86 of them to get up to that amount of gold necessary, and so pretty much not going to happen at this point. Bobski knows that and is now just going to settle in, Death Warp, walk right back, not worry about his key count.
Yeah, I mean, our strength is still a little bit low, as is our HP and MP, honestly, at level 12 have not really increased as much as we like, but still fairly unlikely that we're going to end up with 14,800 gold with which to purchase a silver shield at this rate.
So now, using that torch there, settling right back in. A reminder, we do have the Death Necklace as an option. Now the HP still a bit low. In fact, the attack power might creep up there faster than the HP, but you never know what any level is going to give. I mean, this thing can flip on a dime. You could see like 40, 30 HP on the next level, and then suddenly you start thinking about, do you want to slap that on or not?
Yeah, we've already seen a 23 HP gain, if I'm not mistaken, so, I mean, anything is possible for stats and level ups. Here's 13, 7 power, 1 agility, 8 HP, 4 MP. Somewhat boring.
Yeah, nothing game-changing here, but getting closer, slightly closer to that defense breaking point. That strength is going to make this a little bit more efficient. I'm sure someone in chat, I've been seeing people in chat looking at how efficient it is to kill these these blue dragons with the sword. I think before they were swinging up to 29, probably now like 32 or so.
Yeah, and also we're seeing the divergence of strategy here. HighRofellos does go back through the North Swamp entrance to the Garenham Inn and is electing to just go back and forth here. Doesn't need to buy any more keys. That door is going to stay unlocked so long as he stays within this closed system of Garenham and Swamp Cave. As long as he doesn't walk out the back to try and shortcut it, he'll be able to use that path freely to go back to the inn back and forth. So that might save him a little bit of time here and there.
Yeah, and chat debating on whether or not it might be better to fight the red dragon over the blue dragon. The red dragon obviously tougher to kill, but does give more experience points. At a certain point, when you do have the attack power to kill that thing efficiently, might be able to make that a more efficient grind. But you have to wonder, the agility is nuts. There's still quite a ways to go before the attack power and HP are what you might want to see. And so I have to wonder, if you get, what would you need, about 8 more agility, maybe 10 more agility here to start defense breaking these blues? I think if we see it, I think this would be too good.
Yeah, I don't even think it's that much more agility. So once we see defense breaking blues, that's got to be super appealing. The resources just get that much better because you don't have to heal as often. So you're able to grind for a lot longer period of time, and that's always a nice feeling when you're able to just continue on with your plan longer. You don't have to spend so much time going back and forth to the inn here. Okay, HighRofellos at level 12, now possibly deciding he has enough to go to Hawksness to pick up the Silver Harp. And we're going to find out, maybe, if a red dragon wants to stop him. Not here yet. 103 agility, definitely sufficient to run from these red dragons. Although not on the second try, we'll see. Okay. So still a fraught journey here. Lots of red dragons on the way to Hawksness.
Yeah.
Not tempted to any fights.
Yeah, having to walk through those desert tiles with red dragons can be pretty nasty. Fortunately, the agility is good. HighRo does make it here. I imagine he must have stopped in an inn at some point. So with full resources, should have no problem taking this out. And then again, it's just a matter of how quickly can he put everything together and get back to it. And then how much is the experience lead by that point.
Yeah, Bobski once again opting to use up all of the MP and not cast outside to go back to the Garanham Inn, instead just going to Death Warp once again. If he is able to kill this blue dragon, that'll provide him level 14, but it's going to be pretty close.
All right, gets the baby fire breath here with that high roll last round. Should get it. Yes, here indeed is level 14. And let's see what it gives here. It is going to be 1 power, 3 response speed, 1 and 5. And still no hurt more in sight. Not that we necessarily needed it. I do think that was sleep that he learned. And, well, all right, on to 15 we go.
Yeah, everything but hurt more now. We're still really deficient in a few stats here. Only 109 attack power. We're nowhere near being able to use the Death Necklace to boost that attack power by 10 at the exchange of 20% of our maximum health. 70 MP only gives us 8 heal mores at the moment, so we've still got a bit of grinding ahead of us.
So now HighRofellos opting not to fight this red dragon on the way to turning in the harp. I was kind of wondering, we've been talking about this for so long, chat debating which grind is better than the other grind. If you get hurt more, do you use that? And, obviously Bobski has picked his grind spot. I mean, he's been here for, I don't know, the last 12, 15 minutes or so. But with HighRofellos going back there now, you have to wonder if it's on his mind, whether or not he wants to potentially go back to Hawksness and maybe grind there. And we could see, which grind is more efficient. But we'll have to see what he does after getting the rainbow drop.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about this long walk to the Jerk Cave, is that you kind of get to debate things in your head, which you'd prefer to handle. The blue dragons for 180 XP and fairly quick, or red dragons at the maximum 255.
And chat keeps debating on how long we're going to have to go. They keep playing Price is Right and upping the ante ever so slightly. I mean, if the stats keep pouring in the way they have the last couple of levels, we could be here all night, but not likely to happen here. Again, with the way things have been picking up here, I would be surprised if we had to go past level 17. And this could also be one thing to mention here is that if the power just goes up by a little bit over the next few levels, we do have potential fairy water strats in play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Fairy Water, this is a recent addition to the Randomizer, now has the same effect that it does in later remakes of Dragon Warrior, doing 8 to 16 damage to Dragon Lord, which is effectively a swing at 132 attack power. So one strategy is to load up on Fairy Waters at the Merchant and Brecconary and toss those at the Dragon Lord in order to reach a little bit further in your damage output than you would otherwise be able to do.
Yeah, and with those rolls there, you get about 12.5 expected damage, and Z-Man noting only 4, but Mike noting 5 if you ditch the Death Necklace, which, I mean, if they don't get a lot more HP here soon, I think ditching the Death Necklace would be on the table. And question in chat, blue dragons can dodge, right? Yes, any enemy in this game, save for the Dragon Lord himself, can dodge, and so no, I don't know what the dodge chances are off the top of my head between blue and red dragons, but I don't think there's really a difference there that you want to consider consider in terms of grinding.
Yeah, most enemies in this game, outside of a few notable ones, are either 1 out of 64 or 2 out of 64. Like you mentioned, I believe the only enemies that can't dodge are Dragon Lord and Golem actually can't dodge. That's one of the weird random ones for whatever reason. Most of the time it's asleep anyway, but even if it's not, it is not able to dodge. It is too big and slow.
Too big and slow indeed. So now that HighRofellos has done the paperwork, checked off the boxes, HighRofellos going to go ahead and settle in this grind. An unfortunate early death there for Bobski. Didn't quite see if that was a dodge or if you just rolled a little bit too low. But this is, this is the window that HighRofellos needs. So now that he's settling in, he's, I believe, 3,700 away. Bobski has a little bit more than double the experience of HighRofellos at this point, and so this is the one shot that he has to settle in. We'll have to see how much experience per minute they can get. Potentially, if they can start defense breaking these, it could come down to a failed Charlock dive.
Yeah, the other thing too is it's not just strictly, whoever's ahead in experience is in the lead necessarily. Keep in mind, these racers may choose to go into Charlock at different levels. If HighRofellos feels like they are behind later on, they may choose to go a level earlier than Bobski. Given that it takes roughly 4 to 5 minutes to get a level, that may be all the time they need to make up the difference here if they're able to kill Dragon Lord at an earlier level.
Or even fight their way down for that level with this high defense power. One also potential option on the table, we're talking about, do you want to get that fairy water? Do you want to chuck that death necklace? We know where Breckenary is. Maybe, just maybe, we could see that there's an old man in Breckenary there who does something special. Maybe he could come into play at some point?
Absolutely. We'll see. Charlock with 107 agility, about to be more potentially, here with level 15. No more agility. We've got 2040. We finally learn Hurt More at level 15. But, Bobski just gets back to work. Not a whole lot there for him.
Interestingly enough, does choose to open this fight by chucking a Hurt More. Unfortunately, it did miss, and potentially leading to his premature demise here. But no. All right, so we were debating this in chat before. When you get that Hurt More spell, do you want to just continue plowing away with your sword, or do you want to chuck out that Hurt More first for that 50-50 chance of landing and helping you clean up the fight? And Bobski's made his choice here. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for him in this fight. We'll see if he continues to do the same thing, barely surviving that baby breath attack.
Yeah, Bobski is taking some risks in these grinds. Getting all the way down to 13 HP, still swinging, and then getting a lucky hit only for 12 damage. So this could be interesting. Bobski's got a couple more deaths on the docket than HighRofellos at the moment. HighRofellos seems to be just kind of going the conservative path, just cut and dry, kill, go out, cast outside, get the MP back. Bobski's doing a little more spice here, but also looks like he's defense breaking these blue dragons potentially. Oh, there's a 24 hit. Maybe he's just been getting lucky. And another Hurt More that misses. So I don't know if this is being very efficient on the MP here. Lots of missed Hurt More opportunities for Bobski so far.
Yeah, really unfortunate. And Beta Strep saying, you've got 1734 range at this attack power, so he thinks that in this position, the most efficient thing is to swing. And as we settle in here, both runners again in that grind and go mode, we've seen some pretty MDI favored levels so far. For anyone just joining us here, we can go in and do a quick recap because, the events that have happened early on in this seed could be influencing these runners now. Bobski was just a little bit later than HighRo getting to that sword. HighRo found it about 5 minutes. And fortunately, Bobski Bobski finding it not too much later at 9 minutes. And you kind of wonder, I was hoping that Bobski would head in the right directions and find the things that he needed so we didn't see a gap too large. But you wonder if he feels like he's behind here. Again, he keeps trying to cut these corners, and I'm not exactly familiar with his style, whether or not, again, that's something that he normally does or whether or not he feels like he might be behind.
Yeah, that's always a question on your mind when you're racing this. Certainly, especially this deep in the tournament where everybody remaining here knows what they're doing, has proven themselves. You're always looking over your shoulder. Even if you're in the lead by 5 or 10 minutes, you never know how well your opponent's doing, how lucky they were. Another thing of note, I don't believe either racer here has found a metal slime yet. So I know when I'm racing, in the back of my mind, oh man, what if my opponent found all the metal slimes and got all the excellent moves and is just way ahead? What if they're already diving Charlock? What do I do here? Your level of paranoia might affect how you play the game here.
Yeah, the metal slime is an interesting thing to think about here we have not seen any metal slimes out on the map, which means neither of these runners have seen metal slimes out on the map. And it really does come down to, with how efficiently Bobski found everything. It would be interesting to know if that's what he's potentially thinking about, because if you go in the correct direction and kind of find everything right away, it lowers your exploring on the map. And sometimes when you take those winding routes and you don't find anything, it might lead you to a different zone that might indeed have those metal monsters worth a sometimes easy 255 experience. And with the way that Bobski has cruised through most of the seed, maybe he's thinking, wow, maybe my opponent did the same thing. Maybe we're grinding at the same time, and maybe that difference is just going to come down to that metal slime. However, what we happen to know here is, despite the fact that Bobski has a few more deaths, I think we can attribute that to his choice to try to grind with the bamboo pole fairly early on. HighRofellos' deaths have been more costly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of exploration deaths, lots of red dragons on the overworld. Despite this large agility giving them a pretty good chance of running away, have stopped progress, and getting kicked all the way back to Tanagal has cost him several minutes at this point. And right now, that appears to be a lot of the difference here. Most of the towns and caves on the map have kind of been on a single linear path here, so there hasn't been a lot of exploration difference, nobody covering a corner of the map that they shouldn't have. They've really covered the same territory, followed about the same steps here. It's really come down to encounter luck. But we're also, again, seeing a little bit of divergence in strategy in the grind. Bobski choosing to just death warp back to Tanagal as South Swamp Cave is less than a dozen steps away, versus HighRofellos has been casting outside, going to the inn in Garanham here for his HP refills. We've got HighRofellos getting level 14, but again, these last couple levels have not been very exciting for stat gains. So even though Bobski's got a 1-level difference here, the stat difference is really negligible in terms of grind speed.
Yeah, but very close here, I believe, 2 blue dragons away from level 16. Again, we could see, he's pretty much held on to that 3,700 experience point lead as they just continue to grind out these blue dragons in search of those Dragon Lord 2 stats. And again, yeah, it's good to note the attack power difference right now, only 2. So not speeding up the grind at all. They'll be pretty much killing these blue dragons at the same rate. But now, Bobski here, when he takes out this blue dragon, we'll see level 16. We'll see, could it be a huge lead or to forgo mode or just more efficient killing?
All right, let's see what we've got. 2 power, 3 agility, 7 HP, 7 MP. So, again, kind of a mediocre level, just back to the grinding boards, as it were. Chat, I want to hear, I've seen some predictions in chat so far as to what level we think Go Mode will be in. I want to see your predictions. Where do we think we'll need to end up? Is 17 just going to blow up and we'll get all the strength and MP we need? Or are we sticking around till level 20? Who knows?
I don't think we can go to level 42 in this version of the game, but Z-Man said 19 earlier. He's sticking with it. I see, Tadaru is optimistic. He thinks it's only 2 more levels. DK9146 even more optimistic here. But I'm seeing a lot of 19s here, even a 20. And, I'm thinking that might be the case. Usually we do see, we did see the strength pick up a little bit in a couple of the early levels. Excellent move coming out here. Gonna, increase that lead just a little bit here, just a little bit more efficient. And so you really hope that the curve is going to bring you in sooner rather than later. I like 18 or 19 personally here, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, so I'll bring up, here's a question for you and Chad as well, of course. What point do you consider leaving this blue dragon grind and diving Charlock to try and get a level on the way?
I am definitely interested in Chat's opinion on this. I think the MP is a little bit too low. Ideally, strength is the stat you want to be searching for. I'm definitely interested to hear what Chat thinks about this. What point would you leave and try to dive for it?
Yeah, I mean, we do have some pretty low MP. Our HP finally hits the green at level 16, so at least we've got that covered. But also keep in mind, if we're repelling through Charlock with our current defense or 1 more level worth of defense here, Charlock may be fairly quiet. We're already not going to be seeing wizards, werewolves, green dragons. We're close to blue dragons. I think we've passed Axe Knights at this point. I mean, it's going to be pretty quiet so long as we're not loaded up with Armored Knights, Stonemen, and Red Dragons. So that's also something to consider. But also, potentially, there could be a better enemy in the mini-boss spot right before Dragon Lord as well. Perhaps there could be Axe Knights that you're already defense breaking and just make life super easy. So there's some potential there as well.
Absolutely some potential waiting on that Dragon Lord 2 spike tile. I do believe it as well, with the MP being this low, if you're thinking about repelling things in Charlock, you don't want to be casting Repel unless you get a lot more here. But if I'm not mistaken, Caitlyn should be on the way depending on the routing that they take. So could take that pit stop there to fill up on Fairy Water and just, have a potentially quiet walk on the way down. And I mean, honestly, Bobski here closing in on 17. I mean, if it gives any more agility, we could have an extremely quiet Charlock dive.
Yeah, it's almost eerie when you're walking through an entire floor that's all just star wyverns and wizards, and there's nothing there. It's such a great feeling.
All right, so running out of resources, is Bobski going to go ahead and take this Death Warp? I'm not sure if he ran away from that and decided to try his luck at critting a blue dragon or what happened there. But either way, going to go ahead and get that refill and quickly get that level 17. Again, probably thinking in the back of his mind, how close am I? How far away am I? Where's my opponent at? This elimination match 3-1, like you said, everyone's proven themselves at this point. They know what they're doing. They know how to make the correct decisions. And so the only thing that's left to find are those final stats. And, if they're close, again, it could come down to that decision. Do you pick up the Fairy Water? Do you sell the Death Necklace? We just have to wait and see what 17 gives us.
Yeah, it's a fairly complicated math problem at that point, but HighRofellos hitting 15. We're just a couple blue dragons away from 17 on Bobski's side. So we'll see what 17 provides. We'll need a hefty amount of power, but it's not impossible. Like I said, we've seen stat gains over 20 before. 20 power, even with fairly low MP, with the defense and agility we've got, might make it pretty close, depending on exactly what we end up with.
Yeah, and now that Hyro has hit 15 and has learned that Hurt More spell, I've got my notes here. Actually, wait, let's go ahead and see what 17 brings, and I'll finish that point.
All right, 5 power, 17 HP, but no more agility. We do get a nice stack of MP as well. Bobski still looks to be grinding with only 118 attack power. Even with the doubles we'll get, that's still, what, 4 to 9 damage every swing? So, yeah, we're getting closer. The Death Necklace is approaching a possibility as well, even if we don't get the power next level. If we get a big enough HP gain, that'll give us an extra 10 attack power, and that could be enough as well.
Yeah, it was interesting seeing Bobski with the movements there, maybe second guessing himself as to whether or not I have to think that he was thinking, do I dive now or do I stay? And I think I think the play here, I think what's on his mind here is you run yourself out of MP and then dive and hope that you get either a nice attack power boost or a nice HP boost, or maybe even both. On the way down. I want to say, I obviously I can't read his mind here. We don't know what he's thinking. We can only wait until after the race to ask. But based on the movements, I have to think that's what he's thinking right now.
Yeah, so you're saying the question is, should he stay or should he go now?
Exactly, yes. That is the eternal question.
Looking to clash with Dragon Lord as soon as possible next level.
Alrighty, wonderful. I'm just old enough to get that reference. I believe, I'm on the younger side of the Dragon Warrior randomizer community, but just old enough to understand that particular reference. I'm sure there will be plenty out in chat that'll appreciate that one as well. But while we continue to wait for Bobski to run himself out of MP, I just wanted to go back to the point that I was going to make earlier. So I've got my notes here. Hurt More giving, coming at level 15, giving an interesting look at the time difference between the runners. Sometimes you can look at the expected experience per minute, but Bobski here hit 15, learned Hurt More at an hour and 6 minutes, and Hyro hit 15 and learned it at an hour and 18 minutes. So a 12-minute difference. So I was thinking maybe the grind could be efficient enough that one failed dive could do it, but it's looking like it's probably going to take 2 here. What are your thoughts on that? How can HighRofellos try to even this up?
Well, one possibility is to see if the red dragon grind is a little bit faster, all these blue dragons being so close to the start and really not being a threat with this baby dragon breath. I don't think that's necessarily going to be the best strategy. Obviously, the runners don't know their relative positions, how far ahead or behind they are. What HighRofellos needs at this point, I think, is a very unlucky Charlock dive from Bobski. That could help close the gap quite a bit. HighRofellos has been very efficient in this grind. I believe started out about 4,000 behind. Actually, he's still kind of about that far behind. Noted that Bobski's a couple levels ahead and therefore gets a bit more attack power and defense and such. So his grind's going to be a little bit faster at the higher levels. It's going to be kind of tough. We may see some risks taken, though. We've seen Bobski take a few risks during this grind. Here he is dying with 20 MP left. So, there's a little bit of inefficiency in the grind here. Also, spending MP on return just to save 5 or 10 seconds walking outside of Tanagal, so he's gonna have to go back and Death Warp that much sooner. Although, he's only a few blue dragons away at this point. And look at this. So he exits Garenham entirely. So now he's about 600 experience away from the next level. It looks like he's just heading to Charlock now.
Yeah, he decided indeed that the play was to get close enough to make the level on the way there. Maybe even, not even necessarily thinking about Charlock as he gets a Kaisha no Ichigeki against this red dragon to get him that much closer to the next level. And we saw HighRofellos getting stopped, pulled over, occasionally sent back to start by these red dragons. Maybe he's thinking, oh, I kill these red dragons and on the way and I get there, but even beforehand, again, there is that option of staying at Cole right before Charlock Castle itself, and not gonna bother with the fairy water, just gonna take this in and dive. Okay, not even taking, maybe wanting to put the rainbow drop down. This is an interesting decision here.
Yeah, so we're likely to find out fairly early what level 18 brings us. Again, we're about 300 XP away, and yeah, he's just doing the walk here. I might just try to continue diving. If level 18 gives us what we need, there's no sense in walking back and forth in the opening lobby here. Just go for it. Although he is using full MP here, he's going to have to walk out to Cole and heal up before a dive anyway. But we may see HighRofellos catch up on XP here a bit, just gain level 16. Sees the stat line, 113 attack power, we're still not really there yet. So HighRofellos almost certainly going to need to grind at least one more level here before he considers moving on to Charlock.
Yeah, I would guess this is going to be about 2 more trips to make up this experience gap, as interesting plays coming out of Bobski here. Potentially feeling a little bit of the pressure in this elimination match. Might have been thinking about, again, getting it on the way, but here we go, the ever-important level 18.
11 power, 2, 3, and 27. Wow, we've got our MP. That is going to do it. We've got orange attack power, but really all the other stats are just so absurd. I think we've got enough to make it.
And doesn't even need to, again, heads up play here, doesn't need to stock up on that fairy water, maybe wanting to scout what was on that top floor before he makes his dive. We do know, I think I saw like a Wyvern Wizard, a Star Wyvern Wizard, and a Armored Knight. So could have a pretty clean dive here as he makes his way through the first floor, and as long as he can get there with all his resources, this is going to be a pretty easy fight. I think this is Bobski's to lose at this time.
Yeah, even with 112 agility, of course, gets ambushed by a stone man. Welcome to Charlock.
Yeah, Charlock definitely does not care about your agility, although does manage to skate on away from that Armored Knight. Again, those are going to be here on this floor, and sitting on, I believe, 13 heal mores, maybe 14, but having just enough to use that Radiant spell, chooses to use that instead of a torch, and now making his way down.
Yeah, notably, so 112 MP is exactly 14 heal mores. Our damage range right now is, I believe, 7 to 14. We're averaging roughly 10-11 damage a hit, not counting any fairy waters, which aren't going to give a huge bump to that. So, if he has to use a couple heal mores on the way down, that actually kind of makes him no longer a favorite here. But again, with this huge agility, it shouldn't take too many tries to run from everything, although this particular set of enemies does include both red dragons and armored knights. So anything is possible in Charlock, but right now Bobski in the driver's seat.
Absolutely, and chat giving their opinion here. We have Nest Cardinality in the chat saying he agrees with Jake Hopper that it shouldn't be that close. Lorgon saying his simulator gives above a 99% chance to win on full resources. And I think I have to agree with that. I mean, sometimes you can get, with the 123, sometimes the doubles aren't quite guaranteed if the Dragon Lord feels a little bit spicy and throws out that breath time and time again, or if he gets some bad heal mores. But barring that, I believe the expected doubles, with this defense, if Dragon Lord 2 is feeling pretty bitey here, should give him the edge that he needs in order to win. But again, we'll have to see.
Yeah, this agility leading to 96 defense even without Silver Shield. Imagine if you did have a Silver Shield, how free this would be. But 123 HP, quite a bit more than the minimum of 97 that you're looking for here. We should get some doubles, aka some extra opportunities to attack before we need to use that Heal More spell on the Dragon Lord. So this should be a good fight so long as Bobski is able to get there with full resources, as we said. We'll see what this mini-boss is, though. A red dragon could potentially take away Heal More if it's particularly nasty.
All right, being blocked temporarily by an armored knight, maybe that swing there was just a mismenu. It's being kind right now. It does not particularly care about his agility, but with stop spell and a couple of attacks, does manage to get away. And yes, chat noting that as long as he gets the opening double and the closing double, probably doesn't need anything beyond that. I do believe the math works out to basically you take your heal more count, you add 3, assuming the opening double and the closing double, and you're pretty much right there. As long as you get the average rolls, it should be fine. We do have the armored knight here, the potentially last encounter before the big duel.
Yeah, Armored Knight's a bit of a pushover here. Low chance of casting Stop Spell, which is a free turn, as Erdrick's Armor grants you Stop Spell immunity. The DL1 fight should also be pretty easy here. Let's wish Bobski luck in his Dragon Lord fight.
Absolutely. Good luck to Bobski here, as he is first down to the Dragon Lord right at the 90-minute mark, opening up with the 27. Might take 3 turns here to take this down. Gets the stop spell, gets the physical attack. He is damage broken. Wow, needing 4 attacks but getting the stop spell. This should preserve an opening double, maybe even a triple on this Dragon Lord 2.
Yeah, no ambush by Dragon Lord 2. Took an entire 3 damage from the first form. This should be academic as long as Bobski doesn't miss menu.
All right, getting some low rolls here, 7 and a 9 for 16, no triple. Unfortunately, at this point, getting an 8 now. The count's going to be at 24. This is, he's swinging kind of low here.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen this before in this tournament. Some low rolls to start out could influence the strategy here on Dragon Lord. If the rolls don't line up and we get a lot on the lower edge of the damage range, we might see some hurt mores later on.
All right, well, he did get a double there and got the 11 and the 12. I do believe he's up to 57. A 9 coming in, going to put him up to, I believe, 66. Knows that, he's feeling confident, not wanting to swing on 48. If my count's right here with that 12, should be up to 78 damage. Wow, getting another double, getting a 13. I do believe that's 91, already halfway through this fight, not even halfway through his heal mores.
Yeah, the heal more only putting him up to 93 here with Dragon Lord attack. Still well within the safety range, above 48 HP. That's the maximum damage as bad Dragon Breath can do. So as long as you're above that and you've got green defense, you are good to go. Although he heal more is at 50 here anyhow, so Bobski, unlike the risk-taking he took during the grind, is very risk-averse during this DL2 fight. Sees that his opponent has not finished and wants to make sure he's going to make it there in time.
Yeah, it might have been a bit of a missed menu, maybe just that, he hasn't gotten, I think he's gotten 2 doubles in the middle of this fight so far. Maybe just that muscle memory telling him, to do what it is that you need to do to win. HighRofellos, meanwhile, is at 17, going back to the inn. He's at 12 for 16, so it would be pretty tough to try to make this up on a single dive. And meanwhile, 14 is going to do it here. 3 heal mores left in the bank. Lorgon called it, 99% chance to win. Not even close. The opening low rolls did not matter. As break out your GGs, Bobski is going to finish this race. He is going to continue his tearing up of the bottom bracket.
And after some final words from Gwalen, we have our GG's, but thou must. And everybody in chat, congratulate Bobski on his victory in the bonus brackets.
And the official SRL time is in 1:33:50. So the stats weren't great to start. Aside from the agility, there were some nasty monsters out there in the overworld, but Bobski found the things that he needed to find in time. Almost sub 90ing a pretty quick seed. And unfortunately, the immediate forfeit from HighRo does know he's got a pretty long grind ahead of him to 18, deciding to just bow out. And looks like we're going to get Bobski in here pretty shortly for an interview, and definitely a lot of questions that I'm excited to ask.
Yeah, certainly an interesting seed there stat-wise, and the progression was pretty straightforward as well. So lots of fun times in that race. Again, congratulations to Bobski. We should have him here shortly.
And we are extending the same invitation to HighRo. Definitely would like to hear from him as well. As I was noting before that it was about a 12-minute difference between the two runners in terms of getting to level 15, but don't let that fool you. Both of them played an excellent race, and I really want to stress, I think the tail of the tape is really just going to be those unfortunate deaths that HighRo took out on the map while trying to find those locations. And meanwhile, here we go with that ding. I do believe we have Bobski in here with us. Bobski, congratulations. Well played. How you feeling?
I think that went better than you could ever expect that to.
Well, it looked great up here from the commentator's booth. We had an interesting divergence in start here. Lots of choices to make as both of you got keys pretty early. And I think, you wanted to go west to find Rimmaldar and get keys. The divergence at the start, you had the 2 gold chests, and I believe you rolled a bit low on both of them. HighRo rolling more around the medium. You had about 1,000 gold, and HighRo had 1,200. So walk me through the beginning of this seed. You've got your 1,000 gold. You see the town. You're walking in. You see Rimmaldar. What are you thinking at that point?
So I had gone east a couple times before that. So I walked in there probably 5 or 6 minutes after the beginning. And so I was kind of shotgunning all of the different options. I went north. I saw a jerk cave. I thought that was an exceptional lucky walk. I walked south. I saw the entirety of the South Continent, either before I got to Rimmaldar or just after. And then I saw keys and I went, oh crap. Well, either I'm here and HighRo has gone left immediately and I'm 5 minutes behind, or we're right on pace and we'll both find it right about the same time. I knew I wouldn't get ahead by that start.
Yeah, and I might have made a little bit of mistake on my notes here. Maybe it was about 5 minutes after if I look at the sword time, because that's another important point here. So HighRo did opt to check west, and very fortunate that you both did so before too long. It could have been a little bit daunting there with that large bit of swamp. But of course, with that heal spell in the back pocket, as long as you don't get any nasty encounters, no problems there. And the interesting part at the beginning of the seed was that HighRo took those keys and immediately went down to the basement to check for that sword. And I want to say he got that maybe 5 minutes in, and I want to say for you was a little bit after 10. So, again, getting keys around 8 minutes, getting the sword a little bit later. I know you tried to fight some enemies with that bamboo pole, but fortunately you did go before too long to the basement. You see the sword, and what are you thinking at that point?
I mean, as soon as I saw the sword, I said, whoever got here first has an advantage. And there are only a couple points later where I think the advantage could have flipped. And so if I was actually second, then that would have been my excellent moves on both Guardians the first time I went through them, both on the Blue Dragon and on the Red Dragon in Oxness.
Yeah, those were definitely turning points in the race, although the tale of this one, I think, more comes down to, Tristal and I were talking about up in the booth here during the grind. HighRofellos having the experience lead, having that sword just a little bit before you. But here on my notes, I think the real divergence comes around 30 minutes in. So, you I had noticed you both kind of exploring that first continent, trying to make sure you found all corners of it, and then realizing everything was going to be on the opposite side. You headed southeast and pretty much just did a world tour. Every location kind of led to another, and you picked up the token at 30 minutes, and Hyro didn't get it until 47. I do believe it was a couple of unfortunate deaths to red dragons in that desert that you had to go through that basically made the difference. And so I'm kind of curious, when you get to the grind, you said you thought that maybe the excellent moves gave you a bit of a head start, but when you get to the grind, with some of those bumps that you made along the way, and then maybe observing some potential bumps along the way, what are you thinking there? Are you thinking you're ahead or behind, or how are you approaching it?
I mean, I thought it was going to be very close when I was in the grind. I was really, especially because I hung out without armor for a long time, that I thought I was probably either even with my kind of fortunate luck about exploring right into everything, and quite frankly beating the red dragon long before I should have. I think I was doing somewhere between 6 and 12 or 6 and 15, and so I don't even know. I got to the blue dragon and I said, all right, let's go as fast as we can, and a few times I pushed it too far, or had an excellent dodge, or just a dodge when I should have had 2 hits left, and suddenly I didn't have the hit points to take 2 hits from the blue dragon, who suddenly liked physical. So definitely was on my mind while I was grinding. I was thinking, man, I'm being super inefficient, and if I lose because of an inefficient grind, that's going to be the one I point people to when you say, oh, well, I'm learning how to run this game. How do I get really good? And you say, grind efficiently. Don't do this.
Yeah, it could be a little tough. We were noticing here up in the commentator's booth that it looked like you were trying to cut some corners, and so I was wondering if maybe you were feeling a bit behind or feeling a bit close, and that absolutely makes sense, that if you're feeling like it's going to be a pretty tight race, especially this deep into the tournament. I mean, you're both 3-1 going in, and obviously had to take out some big names to get there. Everyone's kind of proven themselves, and so I'm going to turn it over real quick to Tristal. I mean, we had a lot of conversations about potential strategies as we were watching the grind. Tristal, do you have any questions for Bobski while we got him here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people in chat before the race started were asking for a jet seed, and we kind of got it, but in a different form than we were used to. So what'd you think about that agility early on?
I mean, the agility. So I think Lorgan called out in chat, actually, right after I joined the channel to be able to see the chat. Lorgan's calling out that I didn't have armor until I think I got Erdrick's armor. And that was honestly the consideration there. I said, well, if I get armor, I'm going to repel even more that I can barely handle. At that point, it was safer to try to run than to try to hit through things that was borderline. And I was really concerned that I would find something that had Dragon Lord 2 Breath, which I'm not certain that I saw, except for maybe the Magician right at the beginning, or the Ghost. That's what it was. Either it was Hurt More or DL2 Breath, which I don't think I saw until DL2.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything had nasty dragon breath, although there was, Ghost had Hurt More. There were a couple tougher enemies with special abilities early on, but your choice to forego armor to be able to fight those early enemies without them running away, and that saved you a little bit of time, I think. And in this late in the bracket, just small differences like that can be the difference.
Yeah, I'm very interested to watch this one back. I think I will point out more than a few ways that I could definitely improve this, and I really need to play better than that when it's at this point in the game, in the tournament.
Yeah, I
that's
think
just
you'll find as you look back at this race on the rewatch, really just the first half hour or so is just so neck and neck. You're doing both of you do things in a slightly different order, but really because the placement of the towns and caves were fairly linear, you really followed the same path for most of the way here. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to rewatch. See where you think you can improve. This is a good tip for anybody watching, anybody who wants to improve their Dragon Warrior play. Go back and rewatch your races. Go back and rewatch even just your practice stuff if you stream it, so you can kind of take that step back as you observe, and you can have that insight into, I know what I was thinking here. Maybe I should have thought something else as it turned out, that sort of thing.
And it looks like with that ding, we do have HighRofellos here. HighRofellos, GG on a well-played race. Unfortunately, taking the L here, but I do want to congratulate you on a great run and a well-played seed. Going into that, it was going to be a pretty tough. Had to respect the opponent there. And overall, how are you feeling about the performance there?
I just give up on Red Dragons in this tournament. Between the 25% sleep thing a couple weeks ago and the fact that I was failing runs 4 and 5 times in a row at 95 agility, I give up. I don't get it.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. They were I was noting to Bobski that they were pretty common to see there in the desert, kind of, that you had to walk through to get to either Hawksness up there in the north or Cantland down there in the south, and also to go through to find the coordinates. But I had asked Bobski about this before, so if we could step back a little bit and go to the beginning of the seed, Hyros, I would like your thoughts there, specifically on finding the early keys and the early sword. How are you feeling at that point?
Started off, made the one run north till I ran into like a wizard or something just shy of when I would have seen, what was that, Jerk Cave in the north, and then came back out and was going to do a quick trip west just to see how far the swamp extended because we had heal, and that popped keys, which led to grave, which I dove the first time and got sword, failed the dive down to the bottom. Knew the other cave after I went into it was swamp. Got outside, dumped through there, and it was just a matter of figuring out where everything was, really, and it's just a matter of going through it all. But I think I had 3 or 4 different red dragon fights that I couldn't get away from, literally, to save my life at 80 plus agility. So I'm not sure as the early game really mattered that much. It was who ran into what as they were trying to get down to what was Mountain and Staff Cave, and then around to Charlock and Cole.
Yeah, and Bobski was the first to do that. After he was kind of trailing in your footsteps at the beginning. Did find those keys a little bit later, and then did dive for that sword a little bit later, but made that trek out through the swamp cave north to go east and find those locations that he needed to find. And so after that, Hyro, if we can turn it to the grind a little bit there. I saw you grind early on. You still had the I believe the harp to pick up out of Hawksness. And then after rescuing the princess and finding that fairy flute, and I think you went back into the mountain cave for that token, you opted to go back to the swamp cave and grind. And can you walk me through what you were thinking at that time?
At the time, our strength was so garbage, I didn't want to go through on like 40 MP and risk failing the red D. So I knew the blue D was a joke. Take 2 or 3 levels on it, go pick up what I knew had to be the harp in Hawksness. It's 15 steps to turn into the staff. I know I'm returning back then to go north of Tantagel for the drop, and then you just see where your stats end up. So I knew we couldn't go. The red dragon would have been dicey at that point, so there's no reason not to go back and take what you know is essentially a joke fight against the blue D with baby breath.
Yeah, that was pretty easy. Both of you eventually settling into the grind. Unfortunately, those extra deaths, costing a little bit too much time. I guess I'm curious, if you're feeling behind, Hyros, I guess I can ask both of you this question. We were talking about it up here in the commentators booth. As you're both grinding, Hyros, I'm going to turn this to you first, and then Bobski, you can give me your thoughts. As you're grinding and, maybe feeling like it's behind, maybe feeling like it's close, do you think about the alternative strategies, like maybe putting on the death necklace or getting the fairy water? Hyro, did any of those things cross your mind?
I had calculated out the fairy water at 16 and again at 17. My problem was with the MP so low that I didn't think, and I still don't think, with only being 4 to 9, that even with 5 fairy waters that I could get it done. And I knew I couldn't get the 6 fairy waters because I'd found the fairy flute, because that fills up one of your item slots. So finding the fairy flute on the coordinates actually hurt me, because it took away one of the fairy waters that would have put me at a 6-round 72 instead of a 6-round average of 65. So when I got to some of those averages, I was no longer able to make it work out with only 10 heal mores for the entire dive. So I didn't feel at 17 that it was feasible to go. If I'd have had an 11th heal more, or I'd have had the capability to take the extra fairy water, it would have been significantly closer to do, and I'd have probably dove at 17.
Yeah, I think that assessment's pretty thorough. I think, in my mind, I thought fairy water for about half of level 15, and then I said, if I don't get the strength, it's not going to be worth it anyways. If we don't get the magic, it's not going to be worth it. You're just going to get unlucky somehow, right? Whether that's, all your fairy waters roll for 10, and suddenly you go from expecting, 15 more to getting, 15 less. And at that point, I was thinking about alternative grinds. I was sitting there thinking about that red dragon, which I didn't think was particularly squishy, but it had pretty much the same battle length, maybe 1 turn more, except for I would have to spend so much more time going to heal, because I'd have to spend heal mores every time instead of like every other for the blue dragon. So I thought maybe Sharlock. I was getting 17, and I saw it, and I said, I could go halfway and go to Sharlock and do it on the dive, but then I remembered my agility, and I said, well, that's silly. You just get the level and go. You can run away from everything. Agility is, as I said in chat, it's necessary but not sufficient to run away. But when you have 110 or more, it's almost correlated. But it definitely isn't caused. Agility doesn't do the job you think it should.
No, definitely not. Unfortunately, we saw plenty of that here. Even Bobski, on your dive, I think you had 4 or 5 failed attempts to flee from an armored knight. Fortunately, they did have that stop spell, so that didn't cost you too much time. And before we wrap up here, I'm going to hand it back over to Tristel, see if you have any final questions for either of our runners.
Nope, I think that was a fairly straightforward race. Just a little bit of more luck for Bobski with some of those critical hits and the exploration. Congratulations to Bobski and HighRofellos as well for a excellent tournament.
I'm actually surprised Bobski didn't end up with the silver shield after that much grinding. It would have made one caster repel would have walked you through like 90% of Sharlock.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping to see some triple-digit defense there. That would have made Sharlock real quiet.
Well, with the grind to 18, I was going to be within 1,000 of it, so I was just going to grab a chest out of bonus cave and then buy it from Cantlin, because it was right there.
That's a thought. I kept dying on the grind on purpose because I felt it was slower than going through Garrenham to get the inn. So I just kept taking a death. So I think I topped out at like 35 or 4,000 gold, 3,500.
Oh yeah,
4,000.
with the agility, I knew we had the defense. I was planning to be repelling everything in Charlock.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. It would have been interesting to see how that played out, because you definitely would make it to the bottom repelling almost everything, if not even red dragons. I'm not actually certain on the math on that. I'm a little bit less.
No, we'd have repelled everything except armored knights, red dragons, and maybe golems. I don't remember, but those would have been the only 3 enemies we'd have seen.
That would be a first, I think, on that much agility. I've never played a seed with this much agility, and this much agility at like level 6 even.
Yeah, I think that was like double-digit agility bonus the first 6 levels or something like that, just completely off the charts.
And that even with high starting agility as well, helping out with some of the defense breaking in the early going. I did notice some pretty clutch kills on Druid Lords there who were already being defense broken with minimal gear. So really quickly, looking toward the future here, Bobski, you are going to move on 4 straight wins in this bonus bracket. And if I'm reading this correctly, it looks like you'll have to wait to see who your next opponent is. It will be the loser of Angel FM versus my co-commentator here, Tristal MG. Since you're both here, Bobski, I'll turn it over to you first and let you guys have a back and forth. But Bobski, how are you feeling about either of those potential matchups?
I mean, anymore at this point in the tournament, it's really about making the best decisions you can and then getting lucky on top of it. So, I think, both of my potential opponents are just great runners and have a ton of experience and a ton of knowledge. And I'll be lucky if I come away with a 5th win. I have a huge amount of respect for pretty much everyone in the tournament. I think on any given week you can take an L, and it's not even necessarily based on the decisions you made, but it could be you were unlucky or whatever the case is. But I think it's going to be interesting. We'll have a race.
Yeah, I've been in tournaments where I took some losses early, and I've been in tournaments where I've made deep runs, so it's really just dependent on how long the Tris luck holds out here. So we'll see on Wednesday here on the Randomania family of networks whether or not I can overcome Angel FM, get a nice revenge match for the previous league, as well as we both made the finals of that.
And I wanted to actually give a huge shout out to HighRo. I know HighRo made a heck of a run on the winner's side of the bracket, drawing Mr. Holmes and actually coming out with a win before moving on to the challenge side of the bracket. And that's a heck of a run. No matter who you are, I would not want to draw Mr. Holmes.
Yeah, HighRofellos, the bracket destroyer, the Kingslayer, had a legendary run in this tournament. Unfortunately, his tournament run is over, but we will remember this for a long time. So great job to HighRofellos, for sure.
Absolutely. GG's to both of you. And once again, before we head out here, let's go ahead and drop a follow on both of our runners, please. Bobski and HighRofellos. They put on a wonderful show for you here tonight. And again, I want to shout out the people behind the scenes. Thank you so much to Archfield Monk for restreaming, Ali Gerbrap for doing the tracking, and of course to Tristal for being my partner up here in the booth. And if you out there in the audience have not yet joined us for the action, go ahead and just hop into that Discord there. They're in chat. Everyone is there ready to welcome and teach you how to play this game. I do believe there is a race room opened up right now. So go ahead and feel free to pop in and dip your toes in the randomizer. But for now, we're going to be done here. We're going to head over to Apex Corvid and join him with his stream currently in progress. And so until next time, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and have a wonderful night, folks.